Hey guys, getting ready to leave for my hike this morning. I'm going to be headed out to the very northeast corner of Tennessee between the counties of Carter County and Johnson. And we're going to hike over to the top of Iron Mountain, where all along there we'll find the grave of the South's most famous hermit, Uncle Nick Grindstaff. I've made this hike many times. I go out there and pay my respects. And I thought, I'll go out there and make a video and kind of share the story with you. I saw a lot of other videos on Uncle Nick, but they just didn't really tell the story. And I want to try to do that today. I want to head out that way and tell you just why Uncle Nick became a hermit and why he chose to live in solitude for over 40 years. Let's do this. Okay, so we made it. We're going to actually get on the AT and head south to Iron Mountain. And I got me some hiking buddies today. It's my son Lucas, his girlfriend Courtney. Say hi, Courtney.
Hey, how are y'all?
We're going to head this way and I'll tell you the story of Uncle Nick on the way. So Uncle Nick was born in 1851, and by the age 3 was an orphan. His mom and dad both died. He was raised by his family members, and everybody around here just knew him as Uncle Nick. You didn't have to be kin to him to call him Uncle Nick. That's just how they knew him, and a lot of people liked him and knew of him, so everybody just called him Uncle Nick. But when Uncle Nick got about 20, in his 20s, he decided to go out west and seek his fortune, because he had fell in love with this lady and he wanted to marry her, but he had no money. So he goes away for about 6 years and he comes back and she still won't marry. Well, this destroyed Uncle Nick, broke his heart. And he started withdrawing from people. And then he just moved out here on top of Iron Mountain, built him a little lean-to shack. This was his views. Lived in solitude for the next 40 years of his life. Him and his dog Panther. Now Panther is going to become an important part of this story as we go along. So I want to put up a picture right here of Uncle Nick, just so you have an idea of what he looked like. Now this is an old picture, very grainy, hard to find pictures of Uncle Nick, but I'm going to put it up right here for you to see. So this is where the trail starts getting a little rougher. It just climbs and climbs and climbs and climbs. About the last quarter of the trail is kind of uphill, so just keep that in mind. But a lot of people, when Uncle Nick moved back, thought he had his gold buried out here, so they would come try to find it as years went on. But Uncle Nick told a story that he was robbed on his way back and didn't have any money. But people thought he might have just made that up to keep people from coming out trying to rob him and things like that. But who knows? I've never seen nothing and never heard of anybody finding anything. But now old Panther wasn't the only pet Uncle Nick had out here. He also had a pet rattlesnake. He liked to lay in the rafters above the fireplace there above Uncle Nick's bed, and it just stayed in there with him, never bothered him, became his pet. And but old Panther was his long life friend, and Panther was very protective of Uncle Nick. And on July of 1923, a feller by the name of Baxter McEwen found Uncle Nick dead in his little shack. Said it looked like he'd been dead about 4 days when they found him, but he couldn't get Nick's body out because Panther was so protective, wouldn't let nobody around. So he went out and got some help, come back, and they finally lassoed old Panther up and tied him to a tree while they got Nick's body out. And they buried him right up here. We'll be there in just a few minutes, but I think what I'll do is go ahead and put up a picture here of Panther and let you see what Panther looked like. Like I say, he'll become an important part of this story. Just because Uncle Nick was a hermit, don't mean that he wasn't liked. They had his funeral way out here, and there's 200 people in attendance. And the whole time the funeral was going on, Panther was laying on Uncle Nick's chest, but nobody around. So one of the neighbors said, well, we'll take old Panther home with us, take care of him. So they did. But Panther missed Nick so bad, he became very vicious toward people. They finally had to put old Panther down, and they brought him out here and buried him right beside Uncle Nick. Well, we've made it up here, decided to have some lunch. Now, Uncle Nick's old shack was right in there. And here's his grave. Look at that view. Let's take a look at it. It says Uncle Nick Grindstaff. Born December 22nd, 1851, and died July 22nd of 1923. And this has got the coolest epitaph of all time. See if you can make it out where you can see it. It says, lived alone, suffered alone, and died alone. So there's Uncle Nick, his dog Panther beside of him. This is actually his grave. They covered it in concrete, overlooking the view. I'm going to put up a picture of the shack of Uncle Nick's so you have an idea of what it looked like, and we'll finish this video up. And nowadays, the Appalachian Trail comes right down through there and passes right by Uncle Nick's grave. There's probably a lot of hikers that don't even see it here, but just enough for you to know, the legend of Uncle Nick didn't die with him. People say that Panther still protects the grave here. Hikers and passerbyers have often reported a mysterious dog that appeared, followed them a little ways down the trail, snarling and growling. On a couple occasions, I've heard dogs howling here. You can take that for what it is, but that's the story of Uncle Nick Grindstaff, the most famous hermit in the South. Like, subscribe, and share, and I'll see you in the next video.